Hello and welcome to Rajya Sabha TV. You're watching COVID-19 India Fights Back. I am Tina Jha. Wishing all our viewers a very happy new year. So as we welcome the year 2021, India is all set to carry out the largest vaccination drive against coronavirus. Massive preparations are underway for a smooth rollout of the vaccination process. A dry run for COVID-19 vaccination will be conducted by all state and union territory administrations on the 2nd of January in order to test the linkages between planning and implementation and also to identify the challenges. The Union Health Ministry has released a communication strategy to support the COVID-19 vaccine rollout in the country, and the document details information to guide national, state and district level communication activities to enable information about COVID-19 vaccines and vaccination process reaches all people across all states and union territories in the country. So the first phase of the vaccination drive will begin sometime in mid-January and continue till late July or early August. This information was shared by Union Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan in an exclusive interview to Rajya Sabha TV. And also the first phase will cover approximately 30 crore prioritized population. So on this edition of the program, we'll talk about India's vaccination drive and of course the massive preparations that are underway. Joining me on the show are Dr. Rakesh Agarwal, Director, Jawaharlal Institute of Postgraduate Medical Education and Research, Puducherry. Professor Narendra Kumar Arora, he is Executive Director, the Inclin Trust International. And Dr. K. Madan Gopal, he is Senior Consultant Health, Niti Aayog. Welcome, gentlemen, on this edition of India Fights Back. Before we begin the discussion, I extend New Year greetings to you all on behalf of Rajya Sabha TV. Dr. Madan Gopal, allow me to begin the program with you today. So 2020 was the year of one of the biggest health challenges. And the new year 2021 now promises to be the year of health solutions. As said by Prime Minister Modi yesterday, India is set to roll out the COVID-19 vaccination drive in a couple of weeks. How hopeful are you of the new year 2021? Do you see it bringing a ray of hope after we've had a year of dismay and disappointment due to the pandemic?
Tina, very interesting thing. If you track the events which were happening during the last month of December across the globe, every day the number of countries who have starting the immunization is increasing. Immunization against the COVID is increasing.
Yes. And
today, as we are speaking, around 60 plus lakh of the world population, they have already received COVID vaccination. So we were having today now 8 vaccine candidates are in use across the globe. In India also, we are very optimistic because first year was very challenging. The 2020 was very challenging. Now the 2021 is bringing us a hope in the form of a COVID vaccine. Vaccine is in the horizon because now 8 candidates are in use across the globe. And the vaccines which are in India, one of the vaccine which has already been approved in the UK as well as Argentina, as well as in USA. 2 vaccines are already there, which have been approved by other regulators. That gives the hope because that's a very promising thing, and the results which are happening, 60 lakh inoculations have happened, and more or less we were all skeptical about the adverse events following immunization. Very few events have been reported till now of this all inoculations. Having said this, another thing is we were just waiting for the UK clearance of this serum vaccine. Now the data is available and the subject expert group is working on that, and based on their satisfaction, they would be giving the recommendation to the drug controller, and we would be hoping to see the vaccine soon.
That's one aspect. As we speak, sir, the subject expert committee's meeting is underway to discuss on granting approval to one of the vaccines, the Covaxin and the Covishield.
Yes, that meeting is going on. That's one aspect. The moment that some recommendation is given and the drug controller gives a licensure to do the vaccination, emergency use vaccination, then we should be prepared. The preparations are already been going on. It's not that the preparations are already underway since the last week of November. That means so much preparations have already gone into. Now they have done a dry run 2 days back. They have run a dry run. Now they will be having a dry run with more states participating. The first dry run, which was happened on 28, 29, that was quite successful without much glitches. Because first time we are using a technology platform for vaccine administration. So we want to have it more foolproof, because unless the operational linkages and other things are addressed, because once we are going with the actual thing, the glitches are not acceptable there, and it will give a lot of chaos there. For that, these dry runs are happening, and we hope that at one end the vaccine approval is awaiting, the other end we are ready to take on other things.
Dr. Agarwal, we've carried out several vaccination drives in the past as well. In fact, India runs the largest immunization program as well. What is so different about this particular upcoming vaccination drive against coronavirus? What are the kind of special arrangements, the special preparations that have been done? How is, in fact, Puducherry gearing up for the rollout?
So, this vaccine is different in many respects. The most important thing is that we are doing immunization for adults rather for the elderly. And we have never done that as a program for the adults.
Yes.
Actually, that's not done around the world in most of the countries, and we are doing it for the first time. Secondly, this time we are going to have a vaccine which is to be predominantly given to people who may have other comorbid conditions, who may have heart disease, who may have had stroke, who have diabetes. That's again a challenging thing, and that's something that we have not previously done. Thirdly, we are going to do vaccination in some priority groups. So that's another challenge, because program has to be then directed to take care of those priority groups in preference to other groups over time. Fourthly, we are going to use a vaccine which is not necessarily approved in the formal sense of the word. It is going to be something like an emergency use authorization. It's a new vaccine. It's for a disease about which people's attention, people's perceptions are very different, and people have a lot of expectations. So all this adds up to a very unique situation. And we are trying to immunize a large number of people at one time. Normally, you start a program, it gradually builds up. And so it starts with children. So you start with newborns, and over the years, number of people who have received the vaccine accumulate. Here, we are going to start with a large number of people on the first go.
Professor Arora, so since it's going to be one of the first such drives which is going to cover an adult population and a large population of about 30 crore in the very first phase itself, there are bound to be challenges. What, according to you, are the potential challenges that we could see going ahead in this vaccination exercise?
So I would like to start with a couplet from Faiz, who said, Ajeeb rang mein ab ke bahar guzri hai. 2020 was quite challenging. But 2021, I would like to say, ab har dastak paigam bahar lagti hai. That means it looks very expectant as well as encouraging. And although we are going to face challenges, but I'm sure we will be able to manage it. Now, coming to the challenges, there are fourfold challenges are there. Indian immunization program is geared for 5 to 6 crore immunizing 5 to 6 crore people every year. That included about 2.5 crore infants who are born, plus 3 crore mothers. That was our total population size who was being immunized every year. Today, we are moving into adult population, and the phase 1, we have to immunize 30 crores. So immediately 5 to 6 times higher number of people are to be immunized. That also over a very short period, the country has committed in 3 to 4 months. So that is the first challenge. The second, as Dr. Rakesh Agarwal has said, the adult population, and handling adults vis-a-vis children and women is a different ball game. Third thing, that a massive mobilization of vaccine and all the logistics is to be done, which includes cold chain, moving maintaining supply chain, ensuring there are no stockouts, and finally gearing the whole system for such a large population in such a short time. Third thing which is very important is how do you manage adults who do not have any kind of a immunization card system? Because almost all the vaccines which are available today, they have to be given twice. So once an adult gets first dose, the same vaccine has to be given the second time also. That is also a challenge and which needs to be managed. Fourth challenge is that we are giving vaccines which are still for emergency use authorization, and we need to monitor any events which may occur, which have not been noticed but which may occur. Some of these have been noticed, like pain and fever at local site. That is fine, but there may be others. So these four challenges have to be taken care of simultaneously, and that is why the government has gone in first 4 state level pilots or rollout pilots, and there is a lot of learning from there. Tomorrow, day after, we are going to have the nationwide pilot for this, and the system is going to get refined for that. Here, I would like to bring to your notice one major dimension of this preparation, which to address the various challenges, and that is preparing an IT platform called CoWIN. Now, this was primarily for vaccine supply chain maintenance, but on top of that, a very innovative add-on has been done. That means giving appointments, registering the first dose, and followed by registration of the second dose. This whole thing will also be has been built on this software. And the initial reports are very encouraging that it will be managed. Second unique component anywhere seen in the world today, which we are going to do, and this has come up primarily from our experience in polio and measles campaign, and that is we are using electoral booths as our outreach clinics, so that there is ready-made, we know where to put the immunization booth. They synchronize with the polling booths also, so that at one go a very large population can be managed. I will stop at that.
Certainly. Dr. Madan Gopal, if I may bring those points to you. Professor Arora has mentioned quite a couple of challenges that we could face, the potential challenges that we could face going ahead in our vaccination drive. Vaccination hesitancy could also be something that could pose some problems on the ground. This is something we've faced in the past as well, and in the upcoming vaccination drive as well, this could be one of the challenges. So what can be done to allay the apprehensions regarding the vaccine and also ensure its acceptance among people?
This is a very good and pertinent question, because right from when we were talking about the vaccination campaign strategy, so these two aspects were kept in. One is the vaccination eagerness, and the second was the vaccination hesitancy. The vaccination hesitancy comes with a lot of misinformation. So that already a media cell and the war room-like situation is being created in the ministry. They would be handling all these things, the misinformation about the vaccination. Apart from that, if you look at the way the Western countries, they are handling the vaccine hesitancy, the prominent people, they are coming and saying that, hey, I am getting vaccinated. That kind of champions we have to create in India as well. That people should come forward, say that I am getting vaccinated. Then only people will come forward and get themselves vaccinated. The medical community have to have more responsibility, because if you talk to the people now, the hesitancy is coming from the medical fraternity as well. We have to see that how to allay the fears of the medical fraternity. They should come forward, because it's not that. The subject expert group is there, and they will look at all the aspects. And Dr. Agarwal is there, he heads the ANTAGI also. They are there. If the scientific community is approving and giving a licensure for emergency use, that means they are putting in their brains and they will not compromise on the safety aspect.
Dr.
That kind
Agarwal,
of message
would you like to respond to that there is hesitancy among the medical fraternity at the moment, perhaps because the vaccination development procedure has been a little rushed because it's been less than 1 year that the vaccines are ready for rollout, sir? Or is there any other reason for this hesitancy that Dr. Gopal is pointing out?
I think we think that there could be hesitancy. We haven't even started to say today that there is hesitancy. Maybe a bit of an overstatement. We are afraid, we are concerned that there are some people who are expressing this.
There could be some apprehensions going forward.
Yeah, but are those individual voices or is it a whole profession is something, we have to see.
Okay.
There is no reason, and the medical profession people actually know it fairly well. I wouldn't say that it has been a rough ride. I would say it has been a faster ride. It has been a quicker ride. So I would disagree with you, Tina, when you say it's a rough. It's been faster. But then there was a time when we used to travel from Delhi to Bombay in a train in 36 hours. Now the trains are faster and we travel by flight. That doesn't necessarily mean that that is bad. So that is how we are. The process of validation of safety and efficacy of drugs, pharmaceuticals, and vaccines is a very robust process around the world and in our country. We can say this, our regulator has not approved it before the country of origin regulator has approved it. It has been approved, these vaccines have been approved in other countries, and only then the Indian regulator is going to approve it. We have had trials of these vaccines in India to be sure that the vaccine is safe even in our population. The trials, the WHO and other regulatory authorities in the world laid down in advance what should be the cutoffs of our efficacy, what should be the cutoff of safety. They insisted that it must have an efficacy of more than 50%, and if the 95% confidence intervals of that must be above 30%. So these were benchmarks that were set up in advance. They have insisted that at least half the subjects should have had at least 2 months of follow-up. So all that has been done and has been scrupulously followed. The individuals who have had adverse events while in the trial, please understand that they have all been followed up. Also, when we hear of somebody in the trial getting a complication, please remember in these trials, half the people get vaccine, half the person get placebo. All those events that we hear about, companies and people doing studies do not know whether they've actually had the vaccine. That cannot be revealed to public, or whether they have had the placebo. So some of those events have been in the group that received placebo, and the groups that look at the data, including the regulator, the subject expert committee, they are the ones who know whether the events occurred more often in those who got the vaccine compared to placebo. So it's a very robust process. Everything is gone into, and if there are any safety signals, if there is any adverse signal about efficacy, those will not come to the fore. Those will not be, the vaccine will not be allowed to go ahead.
Okay.
That is where
points taken. Dr. Agarwal, if I may also ask you, of the 2 vaccine candidates that are being considered to be given approval by the subject expert committee, which is meeting right now as we speak, among Covishield, which is developed by Oxford University and AstraZeneca and developed by and being produced by the Serum Institute of India, and the Covaxin, which happens to be our own indigenous vaccine being produced by Bharat Biotech and ICMR. Among Covaxin and Covishield, if we talk about the efficacy in terms of the Indian context, which one do you think is going to be more effective on the Indian population?
I would say that, it's a very difficult question that cannot necessarily be answered with 100% accuracy today. For the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, which is being produced in India by Serum Institute, we have phase 3 data available. Whereas, to the best of my understanding, for the other vaccine, we have a relatively smaller amount of data. So I think it's very difficult and challenging to answer that question. But both of these are based on robust technology. Both of these in the initial trials have shown similar results, and at least for immunogenicity and safety. So I think, as of now, we have to go on both of those, and that should be fine.
Sure. Professor Arora, another thing that we have to ensure is that the vaccine is administered only to those identified as being in the prioritized group in the first phase? How are we going to ensure that? Do you see that also as a challenge?
It is, if I can speak a few words about vaccine acceptance and hesitancy.
Sure, sir. Go ahead.
And I think the highlight of this time, this whole Covaxin, is that even Prime Minister yesterday said, beware of misinformation. So I think the whole principle is, which is called exceptional transparency. Nobody is trying to hide anything. Right from the top leadership, even we are discussing it openly. This was not the case either for polio or for measles rubella. So I think this is something which gives confidence to the community, and we should maintain it. If there is, and I would like to assure our audience that the highest level of scientific evidence is being used, methods are being used. There are no shortcuts at all. Particularly for India, it is all the more important because we are the largest vaccine manufacturer in the world, and our regulators are highly rated, and therefore we should have full confidence when they approve anything, it will be in the best interest of not only us, but whole world. So it is no shortcuts. Now coming to your question about identification of priority recipients or clients. Now there are 2 or 3 steps have been done. One is all the health professionals across the country, both in public and private sector, as well as those who are working in health facilities, also those who are in the field, like our ASHAs, ANMs, and those field workers, they have been all listed out district-wise and block-wise. So because there are block steering committees, and up to the block level, they have been identified, lists prepared. So that is one category. And that will be the immunization campaign will start with them. Second thing, about service providers, that means the frontline workers, that means police and army personnel. There are ready lists available for those also. Third category is our municipal employees who provide safai and who maintain the overall cities. Their lists have also been prepared. Fourth category is all those who are above the age of 50 years. Now, district administration in partnership with the health department has been doing some surveys where people above the age of 40 and 35 were listed out for other activities. And out of that, those above 50 have been identified. Now, state to state variation is there, but this process also has started that above 50, anybody with or without comorbidity will be given the vaccine.
Dr. Madan Gopal, I would like to come to you once again. During the pandemic, if we talk about the role of India, the country emerged as the nerve center of global health. It earned a recognition of being the pharmacy of the world as well. Going forward in the new year, in the year 2021, how can we further this very role that India has played in the year gone by? We need to further strengthen it. So the question is, how can we sustain this?
Already efforts have been made, because if you look at how we started with the PPE kit, we start from there. When the pandemic started, there was scarcity of PPE kit. Now we are exporting the PPE kit and we are now supplying to most of the countries. Now, apart from that, one more thing which we are doing is we are in touch with the neighboring countries as well. That's another thing which is going on. So they were friendly countries. We are all there and seeing that how we can help them during this time of crisis. Some commitment at the higher level might be happening because they are discussing things, how to take the things forward with the neighboring countries. And if you look at the vaccine supply in the routine immunization vaccine supply, we are contributing to around 60% of the vaccine requirement across the globe. In COVID also, the moment some licensures happened, then we would be escalating and supporting the vaccine requirements in most of the countries. That kind of efforts are made in that direction.
And a few neighboring countries have in fact also reached out to India for vaccine supply as and when it's available in the Indian markets. Dr. Agarwal, I would like to come to you once again for a concluding remark before I allow you to leave, sir.
So I think we had a bad year, a different year, a challenging year, but now we can see a different atmosphere. The disease has decreased around the country. Our efforts on non-pharmacological measures have been fairly successful, and with the vaccine coming in, we have what they call Sone Pe Suhaga, right? We have something to look forward to, and we should, as this is rolled out, we should see victory over the disease over the next few months. And I think the cycle has come a full cycle. Nowhere, never in the human history have we seen a vaccine coming so quickly and something becoming available. It's been an exhilarating journey that we have been able to do this so quickly. The disease was bad, pandemic was bad. We haven't seen that in our lifetimes, but then we have also seen a solution. And we are going to see a big thing. I think our generation has been witness to a big problem and a big solution. Thank you.
Professor Arora, do you see 2021 as the year of health solutions if 2020 has been the year of health challenges for India?
I would like to add three sentences here. First of all, I think as a community, as a country, we have realized how important is the health. And I feel very nice that I see that health has become part of the political agenda. So this whole preparation which we have done and the way we have managed COVID is going to influence our overall health systems, strengthen it, and we will be able to reach. One issue which I think many of us have not noticed, and that is that in every district of the country now, RT-PCR testing is being done, almost every district. This is a great achievement within a short span of 10 months or so, because subsequently all infectious disease can be diagnosed very effectively and with precision in this manner. Third thing, that it has shown the resilience. We were net importers of a lot of medical equipments, including ventilators. Today, we have become net exporters. That means country had the scientific capabilities and the enterprise is there so that we can take care of our problems. So I think this was a year, 2020 was a year of great opportunities, and the country has fully capitalized on it to have a brighter 2021.
Certainly. So the pandemic has, of course, taught us several lessons as well. But we've used crisis as an opportunity, and we hope that we are able to further strengthen it as well in the coming year, which is 2021. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on this edition of India Fights Back on Rajya Sabha TV. Pleasure having you on the program. Thank you for putting your perspective on the subject. So that's it from us on this edition of India Fights Back. But before I let you go, I once again appeal to all our viewers to maintain social distancing, wear masks, and wash your hands and face regularly. The pandemic is not over yet. The vaccine is giving us a lot of hope, but we need to do our bit and we need to stay safe from the pandemic as well. So these are three simple precautions that you still need to take even in the coming year. Stay safe, take care of your families. Thank you very much for your time.